Hello, our truth warriors, and welcome back to the Atlantic Underground podcast. Now, this guy, this side here, wherever he is, that side, he's over there. We met probably 10 years ago by chance. We were in Nova Scotia. I met him at a table. He was promoting an event that he was involved with. And I don't know, he was just, I just felt drawn to go over and talk to him. So I did. 5 years later, we're sitting down, we're doing a podcast after doing several sessions between us. Dan, who's here today, is a spiritual conduit. Most people would come to say it's a medium. 5 years ago, I can't believe that's the last time we've done a podcast, and the world has changed so profoundly since we last spoke that it's almost unrecognizable. So, Dan King, it's an absolute pleasure to have you back on the Atlantic Underground podcast. How are you doing, mate?
I'm fantastic, brother. An absolute pleasure to be back. Thank you for having me.
It is. And we keep in touch. We always chat. There's always something that we want to fire across each other's bow and say, hey, what do you think about this? And get it, always get a second opinion. But everyone out there has no clue whatsoever as to what they actually are. What are we as a human being is probably a big question to ask to get go to get rolling. But what the fuck are we?
The fuck are we? I love it. I love it. And you know my love of fuck, man. So I appreciate you. I
Yeah,
appreciate you wording it that
and
way.
there's gonna be a lot of this. Yeah, we don't hold back with the swearing. So
No,
if
no,
anybody's
no,
offended by swearing with our podcasts, it's time you fuck off.
no. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Fuck right off right now before we get going. That's not only a loaded question, but that's the question.
Yeah,
And the question we're all here to remember, and I say remember because there's a part of us that knows it all, that knows the answer to that question and all questions. Hence why the system we're under so feverishly works to make us forget through the programming that we are subjected to. So who and what we all are, it's been said, many times, many ways, man. Essentially infinite spiritual beings on a temporary human journey. We are souls. We are pieces of God. Pieces meaning not separate from God, as we've been taught.
yeah,
Even what we've been taught about God is bullshit. God is not some Santa Claus, glorified Santa Claus like deity. Essentially, it's above the clouds. It's no different than what we're taught or told as kids. Hey, as a parent, I have an 8-year-old daughter. From November 1st to December 25th every year, I can control the shit out of her with this one concept of some fucking fake dude, white bearded dude, funnily enough, just like the religious God we've been taught about, who's watching over her and watching her every fucking move. And if she doesn't follow the rules, she ain't getting any presents. And if she does, she gets presents. That's really no different than the concept of the religious God that we've been given, which is essentially some white bearded dude above the clouds, watching us at all times. And if we don't follow certain very rigid rules that are given to us through a book that was written thousands of years ago, that book that's been put through the hands of many influential people who have changed it to serve their narrative, to serve their goals. But essentially it's a scare tactic that controls people, just like we can control our children for 6 weeks every year. Again, no different. Follow the rules. You go to the infinite nice list of heaven. And if you don't follow the rules, you go to the infinite naughty list of hell.
yeah,
It's no different conceptually. And the goal is no different. And the results essentially are no different. It's controlled by fear.
yeah,
Um, and it's put there instantaneously into our minds as soon as we arrive here. The second we pop out of our mother's sacred portals,
yeah,
we're taught we're sinners. If we grow up in that type of culture, if you're Catholic, Christian, right off the bat, your judgment and guilt is bred into you, and the idea of separation. Right away, we're taught that God is up there and we're down here.
yeah,
So right away, who and what we truly are is robbed from us. The remembrance of who and what we truly are is robbed from us.
Yeah.
So that ideally, according to the system we're all a part of, the physical system that is, this human system in this world, ideally, if all things go according to their plan, you put that guilt and shame into us, and we spend our whole life trying to make up for it.
Yeah.
Always thinking we're not good enough, always feeling we need to do or be more to be worthy of love, especially God's love. And hence, here we are as humanity.
That's it. So
right? Separated, judging each other, in conflict at all times, because we're in conflict with ourselves, because what we've been taught from the get-go is in conflict with the fucking truth.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. So effectively, we are a fractal of source riding round in a meat suit.
Well said. Well said. And we've been here many times, and there's theories out there that we're in a trap, a reincarnation trap, so to speak, but even if that's the case, it's still part of Source's plan. Reincarnation is still part of the plan. It's still part of the soul's growth. It's no different than grades in school. Since I've been doing this work, Spirit gave it to me, told me to call this soul school. This plane of existence, that's what it is. And just like grades in school, we keep coming back to learn more, to grow, to ascend. If we have a lifetime where we didn't accomplish what we wanted, and oftentimes we're not supposed to accomplish what we set out to yet, because a lot of times there's value to not learning it yet, because the more lessons we bring on about a certain topic, the deeper we will learn about it. I make a joke about my own life. I like to make the same mistake a million times because I really like to fucking learn the lesson, right? But all jokes aside, that's the soul's goal, whatever is necessary for the highest good. Yeah. And I mean, a lot of people ask me, well, why does God allow so much darkness, so much evil? It's not about allowing anything. It's about necessity of contrast, necessity for experience. And I mean, as light beings, why the fuck would we come to and go to more light? What needs light? Fucking darkness. Yeah. So our souls always consciously choose a boatload of darkness to bring our light to, starting within ourselves. We choose to take on the trauma. We choose to take on the pain because we need something to overcome. We need a contrast to who and what we truly are in order to remember what we truly are. Even if you look at our basic human experiences, we've all had to go through a lot of what we're not to remember what we are. We all had to experience a lot of what we don't want, what we don't like, what isn't for us, in order to remember what we do like, what is for us. So it's that necessity for growth. It's that necessity to remember. And oftentimes you have to learn what isn't true in order to learn what is true. Yeah. And that explains the human experience and why things go down in such a fucky way. So yeah, life's fucked up, but it's perfectly fucked up. It's all out of necessity.
Speaking of things of experience, we're going through a shift in energy at the moment, where the people see that as upgrades, which are available to the many. I know this weekend was like insane. And I'm still feeling that this week it hasn't tailored off, but like I didn't even want to have a beer or a smoke or anything this weekend because it was like I can't dumb down what's coming through, because I was high as a fucking kite off whatever these energies are that are coming through. Mm-hmm. How do you think the best way is to fully work with these energies as we're feeling it?
Surrender.
Yeah.
Surrender, man. I mean, look, this entire experience is a conscious experience anyway. Literally everything is consciousness manifested into physical form, into matter, right? So at the end of the day, what's happening is simply upgrades, I believe you've mentioned it or called it ascension, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But with that comes some damn intense uncomfortability, but such as change. So the best thing to do is, again, a conscious reminder of what's happening, because the ego, the human part of us, it needs familiarity. It hates the unknown. Even that's why people stay in the worst relationships, for example, because it's not because they think they deserve what's happening. It's just they're so scared of what life looks like without that toxicity, because you become so accustomed to it. We normalize it. And hey, sure, it sucks, but at least I know how to cope. Right. Yeah. So there's almost a sick comfort that comes out of that toxic familiarity, right? So, for example, when we're going through shifts, like we're going through intensely, and it ain't going to let up.
No.
The mind goes to what typically makes me feel uncomfortable like this. So but it has to be outside of itself. The soul knows everything is within. The ego is always attached to physicality, that it externalizes everything, because by doing so, we never get the fucking solution, which is always an internal thing. Yeah. Right? So we go through these shifts, the ego freaks out because it's new, it's unfamiliar, it's new frequencies, and it's definitely higher frequencies, which is the last thing the ego wants us to allow to ascend into. Its job is to keep us where we are. Its job is to get in the way of our true self. It's our false self whose job is to get in the way of our true self. So it will mind fuck the shit out of you. Every time we're going through these shifts, because it has to react based on fear. That is its life force.
Yeah.
Right? Hence why the system impounds that shit into us. Because if we're in fear, we ain't in fucking love. And the cure for anything, before we even get to that, I'll say right now, is fucking love. Raise your vibe, raise your frequency. That's why they're working so hard to keep your frequency low in fear. That's it. And that's what they can't control. They can't control our frequency. They can't control the soul. Yeah. So what's happening is divine intention unfolding. But it's uncomfortable as fuck to the body because, hey, to the soul, oh, it's all good. We're just going up, up, up. But the body, this dense meat suit, it has to go through a slower, more uncomfortable process, right? So it comes with all these feelings that typically, especially if we have trauma, the mind automatically relates uncomfortability to pain or abuse or trauma or whatever causes, or trauma in our experiences, which by doing so, by freaking out our minds and putting it on something negative outside of us, it inhibits the process of ascension. Right? But if we surrender with a conscious decision of, hey, this is just shifts. I feel like shit. And no one's saying to spiritually bypass and be kumbaya about feeling like shit all the time. But it's about the balance of, okay, I feel like shit, but I'm not responding with fear. I know this is for my highest good, whether it's a collective shift happening or some of my trauma inside of me trying to come to the surface to be dealt with. Because if we don't know the wound is there, how the fuck can we heal it? So it always comes up into some form of uncomfortability. Whatever it may be, whether it's a collective experience or an individual experience, responding from fear or judging it will only perpetuate the experience as is or make it worse or perpetuate it. Yeah. Anything we judge, we bind ourselves to. Yeah. That's why so many people are trapped in cyclical experiences that they don't want, because they respond from, why the fuck is this happening to me, God? Instead of, what am I supposed to learn from this source? Yes. If you respond to things with, why the fuck is this happening? This sucks. All source can do is pick that up and respond and send it back to you, because all it's going to pick up on, this is happening to me, this is happening to me. So all it can do is keep sending you the experience until you learn the lesson that's embedded in the experience. Once you ask, what the fuck am I supposed to learn from this bullshit? Again, you don't got to be kumbaya about it. Source gets it. Yeah. Source knows our soul came here to go dive headfirst into a pile of shit, right? Yeah. And then come out of it, a more evolved version of us, right? The shit is necessary, right? The shit is necessary to appreciate the diamond, so to speak, because there's always going to be shit and diamonds in life, man. It comes down to conscious choice, and whatever you focus on, you feed. We've all heard this shit.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's it. Most people don't realize that they carry such a heavy burden. They carry such the weight of life around us, which is nothing more than theatre for the masses. And they carry the weight of politics and whatever it is that they're angry about, and hate. Hate is probably the worst thing that anybody can have going on in their life, because it weighs down on you so heavily. But I don't think people realize that if they continue to do the same thing every time they come back here to learn the lesson, it's just going to keep sending them back until they go, hang on a sec. I know how I can get out of this, and I know how I can go back to source and live in the bliss of, the light, or whatever we want to call it up there. Or wherever around us, wherever it is. But we don't have to keep coming back and learning the lessons. And I think the biggest lesson is realizing what we are. As we said, we're a fractal of source in a meat suit. Mm-hmm. And my purpose here is to learn, let go of shit, find self-love, and truly understand that my goal is to, there's been things that we've probably had to experience during this. But we can live our lives perfectly given the chance, can't we? If we need to just get
Oh,
out of our own way, that's the trouble. But we're so
oh,
conditioned to
absolutely.
everything around us.
Absolutely. But first, what has to happen is that which has always been bullshit has to be exposed.
Mm-hmm.
You have to tear down what isn't in order for what is to flourish. I mean, you have to. Fear and love cannot exist in the same vibrational space. It's literally impossible. They're two opposites on the spectrum of creation, right? And especially this term love, man, not enough people get what that truly means. I mean, in this world, the term love is thrown around like a joint at a Bob Marley concert. Comes and goes, right? And it's exploited and it's not appreciated for what it is. What is love? Love is not some romantic feeling. That's a form of love.
Yeah.
Right. And that's honestly why so many souls come here and love coming to this shit show that is humanity, because you can experience love in infinite forms here. There's so many varieties of how love can be expressed. But what love truly is, if you break it down, it's unconditional acceptance of what is, with the knowing that what is perfectly created for some sort of purpose, including these toxic cyclical situations and patterns we get ourselves into. It's there to teach us something. It's not some white dude above the clouds punishing you because you fucking had sex before marriage or some bullshit.
Yeah.
All right. It's there to
teach you something. You just didn't believe.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, well, there's no such thing there's truly no such thing as punishment, at least not from source. Yeah. It's, again, necessity for growth. So going back to what we were talking about, if somebody wants to get out of cyclical toxic experience that they're not enjoying, or if they want to make the shifting process easier, simply ask, what am I supposed to learn from this?
Yeah, absolutely.
And source by scientific definition, by quantum physics definition, has to give you the fucking answer. As long as your eyes are open, you'll see it, or you'll get it, or you'll hear it, or you'll feel it. It has to.
Yeah. Follow your
plan.
So
absolutely, because it wants you to find you.
Yeah. Are you doing any tours at the moment or events anywhere?
Currently taking a break from that. I just came off of 3 months of touring, but we got a new one in the works. So I believe come summer, we'll be popping again, man.
Yeah. So obviously, this isn't your first rodeo, and you've done many tours before.
Mm-hmm.
But how are the messages changing for people that you talk to, and is it predictive of where we're heading?
It's predictive of what's needed.
Yeah.
In the sense that so many are ready to really, really deal with their deepest shit, which never has anything to do with anything outside of us. Mm-hmm. It's all about being attached to experiences within ourselves that really aren't even happening anymore. It's attachment to trauma.
Yeah.
Right. And so more and more people are ready to hear the deepest truths possible so that they can free themselves. Because look, first and foremost, we need to learn to, like you said, love ourselves, self-love, paramount. And it's not even about if you don't love yourself, you can't love another. It's not even about that. It's about if you don't love yourself, you can't be who the fuck you're here to be.
Yeah.
It's that simple. That's all of our number one job. Be who the fuck you are authentically, because how you were created, there's no fuck ups there. We're all divinely created. Even the bad people in this world, they have a divine role to act as the contrast.
Yeah.
Right? You have to have dark versus light here. You just have to. It's not like that everywhere else, but here it is. That's why every soul loves it. Again, it's the ultimate platform for growth because of this. There's so much contrast. It's literally the all-inclusive experience.
Yeah.
So many, this whole idea of manifestation has been shoved down our throat. The law of attraction has been shoved down our throat. Well, Spirit says, fuck manifestation. Fuck law of attraction. Everything is already manifested that's out there. No one's going to manifest shit. You're going to align with things that are already out there based on your level of self-worth or lack thereof. You cannot and will not experience anything beyond what you fundamentally believe you deserve in your subconscious, all of which scripted by your trauma and how other people treated you at a very vulnerable stage in your life, oftentimes childhood.
Yeah.
And then we carry those belief systems because it was those people we looked outside of ourselves to validate who the fuck we are when we didn't know who the fuck we are.
Yeah.
And let's say dad was an alcoholic or mom was too fucking busy with dealing with her shit or whatever. And then that creates into us as children, oh, I'm not good enough, or I'm not worthy enough for to be loved or validated, so I got to do or be more. So we live our lives in self-judgment, in trying to please everybody else around us, looking outside of ourselves from our love for our love and validation. And then you never find out who you are, because if you're trying to be who somebody else wants you to be, how the fuck can you be who your soul wants you to be? Literally impossible, right? So self-love paramount. Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Secondly, but more importantly, rather, you can't get to self-love until you remove what's in the way of you loving yourself, and there's always trauma.
Yeah.
The number one problem in this world is trauma, which means ego, because it's a human self that gets attached to that. The solution to it all is love, which means the soul's perspective. Remembering why you went through all that crazy shit. Because once you find that reason, and you always will if you look, the why behind the what, as I like to call it, you free yourself from the previous perceptions that those traumatic experiences created, which have been fueling everything in your fucking life, and therefore the experiences you're aligning with. It's about alignment. The law of attraction is not sit there and visualize what you want. Because first of all, until you know who you are, you're not going to know what the fuck you damn want. You just won't. So the secret can teach you. If you just visualize your Ferrari and you'll get it. Here's the secret about the secret. The secret was full of absolute shit. And it was a ploy to take people away, just like religion. They come in the name of spirit, the name of love, to take us the fuck away from it.
Yeah.
The law of attraction really should be called law of alignment, and it works like this. Be who you're here to be. You'll do what you're here to do. You'll get what you're here to fucking get. It's that simple.
That's it.
And you don't have to manifest shit. Everything is out there for us. We just have to remove what's in the way of us achieving or aligning with that.
Yeah. Now, do you ever have days where you've just got to write it off because the connection just can't come?
No.
No, it's always there.
The connection's always there. Doesn't mean I always want to use the connection. Doesn't mean I always want to work per se or serve.
Yeah.
You know, even the most badass warrior needs an off day sometimes. Right? You understand that, my fellow warrior brother.
Yeah.
But there's no such thing as disconnected. There is only such thing as forgetting your connection.
Right.
It's a conscious choice.
Yeah.
Conscious choice. And most people give up on this because it's one thing to go to seminars and to even a one-on-one reading with me. You're going to walk out feeling fucking great. But I always tell people this means shit at the end of the day. I've given you what you need to know, but you got to go out there and do something with it, integrate it.
Yeah.
And that's when people give up. It's when we can become aware of exactly why we feel the way we feel, why we're attracting things or aligning with things we don't want. We can pinpoint the core trauma. But until we start to do the work when no one else is fucking watching, which is reprogramming the mind to think based on the truth of the soul rather than the bullshit of the ego, no change will happen.
Yeah. Did you ever
you can get a dopamine kick from spirituality just like you can from sex or fucking drugs.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's going to last.
Yeah, absolutely. I know what you're saying with that. Did you ever get to the bottom of what triggered this in you? Because people who've never met you before or seen our previous interview, you know, Dan's story. I mean, we even wrote a poem about it once, didn't we? Remember that?
You did, yes, you talented bastard. You absolutely did.
But you know, Dan was in a restaurant with his friends. Dan used to be an ex-professional wrestler, which sounds absolutely crazy considering what he does now. But you were in a restaurant.
You're telling me, brother. You're telling me.
He was in a restaurant with his friends, and something popped in his head that you needed to speak to the waitress. And I can just picture you being like, where the fuck's this voice coming from? Anyway, he heads off to the washroom, and on the way back, the voice is there. You need to speak to the waitress. And eventually Dan turns around and says to the waitress, I'm either going crazy or I need to speak to you. Can I, sit down and talk for a minute? And it was her father that came through with a message for her, which put her into floods of tears and made you look like you'd just been abusing somebody in the restaurant.
Oh, totally. Oh, yeah. And that was the first time, but it wasn't the last time.
But did you ever get to the bottom? Because this isn't something prior to that really reared its head and showed itself. But did you ever get to the bottom of why and why it happened then and what triggered that? I mean, I know wrestling, you boys can get a little bit physical. Was it a knock on the head?
Well, literally the way I tell my story, that story is it felt like somebody slapped me in the back of the head, and I had to spit out who's Richard, because that's how it all started, and Richard was her dad's name.
Yeah.
But I mean, the bottom of the an understanding of the timing of things. I'm not so sure I got to the bottom of that, but I've got to the bottom of why everything transpired in my life the way it did leading up to that. Even pro wrestling. I mean, I grew up with a stutter, a severe stutter. At one point, until I was 8 years old, I had a severe stutter, couldn't get anything out effortlessly. So that was healed, like I said, around 8 years old. But, I became, more and more confident in speaking. I've always appreciated something so taking for granted as speaking because of the stutter. But wrestling really allowed me to get confident in front of speaking or confident speaking in front of large crowds.
Yeah.
And I had some injuries. My dream was always to make it to the WWE, and had some injuries, which didn't allow that to happen. But then, down the road, these things all start happening. You start to put you start to see the perfection.
Yeah.
In even what we perceive to be unwanted experiences. Again, the stutter is a perfect example of that. If there's one thing I'm absolutely grateful for, it's the stutter, because again, it allowed me to appreciate something so taken for granted speaking, because lo and behold, I'm here to fucking do it on a grand scale.
Yeah.
Right. Even the pro wrestling, it allowed me to speak with charisma in front of large groups very confidently. And sure, in wrestling, you're playing a character, but that's a damn good start to getting confident.
Yeah.
Right. And I ain't playing no character anymore, but because of wrestling, I could talk in front of any crowd at any time. And thanks to Spirit, I can do it confidently because I know I don't have to prep anything. They're just going to feed me what needs to be fucking said. My job is to say it at any cost.
Yeah.
I never give credit to myself for what I do, only for having the balls to do it. That's it. It's all Spirit, man. I'm a damn intelligent guy, but the stuff that comes through me, I couldn't come up with that shit on my best days, man. That's divine intelligence at its best. I think my job is to deliver it in a modern, real world, relatable way. That's it.
That's it. Like we were talking before the show, and I said to you, there's podcasts that have been putting out lately, and like people may have seen Killing God, The Soul Trap. They may have seen stuff on energy vampires and one that we did on Almost recently. And I can't really take credit for it, because you sit down, something gets in your head. It starts off with a small question, and it gives you the answer. You start writing. Next minute, you've got 10 pages of information, and it's like, where did that come from? And it wasn't you that was thinking it, but it's like it's that connection to something that just feeds it and allows it to flow through. And it's when it happens, it's magical. At first, it's
well, and you can feel it, right?
Yeah.
You can literally feel it. You might not be able to explain it, because how do you explain God?
No.
How do you explain the intangible, right? But it's a knowing, it's a feeling.
Yeah.
And I love that you're bringing this up, because this is something Spirit loves to get through to anybody who cares to listen. We're all fucking conduits here, man.
Mm-hmm.
We're all conduits for something beyond us, for something bigger than us. Ideally, we're here to be conduits for love. So no matter what we do, you could be a podcast host, you could be a medium, you could be a fucking mechanic. Whatever you do, you can do it with love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And especially if you're consciously connected, shit, it's going to flow through you. And you're doing God's work, man. You're literally directly a truth fucking spreader. And there's no higher frequency than the truth. That is love. Honesty, brutal honesty is absolute love.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly what you're saying.
That's what intimacy truly is. It's truth. That's what vulnerability is, truth. And you can't have true love without intimacy and vulnerability.
No, that's it.
You just can't.
It's a game changer. As I said earlier, we just have to get out of our own way sometimes and let this happen and trust in it, and know that, what's coming through is not going to do you wrong. The advice of people and the authorities that try and preside over us in our human form, they're the ones we shouldn't be trusting. Trusting yourself. And again, as you say, that's a form of self-love. Now,
and the more you connect to that, the more you just see everything for what it is, because you're looking through the eyes of truth.
Yeah.
So it literally completely shifts your perception and therefore your reality, because perception is reality.
Yeah.
But in true definition, it's fucking not, unless you're connected to truth within yourself. Before that happens, you're just seeing the world filtered through your own bullshit experiences and the conditioning that came along with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you ever
That's it, man.
Do you ever get it where you can't switch something off when messages start coming through? Are you able to kind of say, okay, not now, I'm doing the dishes and the wrestling's on in 5 minutes, so you can fuck off? Or is it just sometimes inconvenience and you go, okay, listen, if I fucking listen to you for 5 minutes, will you fuck off and let me watch the wrestling?
Well, I mean, thankfully, in the beginning, it used to happen everywhere I went. And at that time, you know, I was very naive about everything. I thought it was my duty, right? If something came to me, I thought it was my duty to share it. Well, I'll tell you this much, man. Big, drunk, jacked up dudes in a bar don't want their deepest shit aired out in front of their friends and their girlfriend. Yeah. But that tapered off, and I think that played a purpose because I was there to learn. I wasn't here to martyr myself. And just because I get it doesn't mean it's the time to share it.
Yeah.
And I'm still learning that because I just love helping people, man. I just do. If there's one thing I have to work hard on, it's my extreme Superman complex. I'm not here to save everybody and or even to help everybody as much as I want to. But nowadays it's more so whatever it comes through at the right time, and I just take it.
Yeah. No,
you know, because it's never getting in the way of anything. It's never an inconvenience, and it's always something extremely relevant, either for my life or for humanity.
Yeah. And what would you say has been one of the most extraordinary and revelationary messages you've ever received that changed your life?
Ooh, that changed my life personally?
Yeah.
Probably the understand.
Yeah,
Sorry?
I'm gonna say it could be a message that somebody else received that you've kind of sat back and gone, fuck.
Yeah, well, that happens all the time. I'm always very aware, or try to be very aware, that what's coming through for somebody else may be a message for me too. Yeah. I think the biggest realizations I've had through my own intuitive practice or intuitive abilities and openness to spirit is self-understanding.
Yeah.
Even connecting to past life shit that allows me to understand myself more in this life and therefore heal certain things, because most of us, if not all of us, are carrying shit from past lives. It's no different than school again. If there's unfinished business from a previous grade, you got to redo it a little bit in the next grade, right? But it's self-understanding, but I don't think that makes me different than anybody. I think at the end of the day, we're all here for that self-understanding, because if you don't understand yourself, you don't understand shit, man. Yeah. And if you don't understand yourself, you can't be yourself. If you can't be yourself, you're not here doing a damn thing. Yeah. And so again, it all comes down to self-realization, self-awareness, consciousness. That's why this stuff is called conscious living. It's living consciously. Yeah. You know, and again, this is all a fucking circus of consciousness. Everything.
Yeah, no, that's it. Do you ever tune in to have conversations with your relatives, your parents, anybody?
I wish, man. I wish. Yeah. I mean, I could talk to yours, anybody else's, but I don't know if it's like a doctor, you can't operate on yourself kind of deal. But I never pick up on my relatives as clear as I do everybody else's. Probably there's too much of an emotional tie there. Also, I don't think it would serve me all that good. Why do I get to talk to my family when everybody else has lost theirs, right? It's part of the human experience. They let me know when they're around. I probably don't always pick up on it. My mom used to wear a very specific perfume. I smell that sometimes when she comes around. I just see my dad's big smile sometimes, you know, or they'll just send me signs in various ways. But yeah, no, I wish I could vibe with my loved ones on the other side as well as I could with everybody else's.
Plenty of time for that when me and you cross over.
There is, brother. There is. The veil is thinning more and more every day.
Absolutely. And is it limited to people are passed over, or is there ever any animals that can come
Oh
through?
God. Well, and beyond even that, yeah, animals. Actually, the other day I had a client, she had a horse she was very close to. And that's probably one of the more surreal experiences in this work is when fucking animals are talking to you, man, or babies. That's even
Right.
fucking weirder. To me, what's weirder to me is when babies who have passed on or lost through a miscarriage or whatever come through to explain why I had to go that way. That's a little surreal, man.
Yeah.
But it goes beyond that, dude. I mean, as you well know, we're not the only creations in town, so to speak. I've communicated with what we would call aliens. They don't necessarily like that term. They're more just higher frequency beings,
Yep.
you know, for the most part. Unless you're dealing, I mean, even the weird ones who are here to be more, or not so kind in their intentions, like the Greys and shit. They're still of a higher consciousness. They still understand far more than we could, you know, currently do, than most of us currently do. And then there's guides, there's angels. I mean, there's master teachers. There's fuck. The list goes on and on and on. But the favorite aspect of creation, for lack of a better term, that I like to interact with is someone's higher self
Yeah, definitely. And I
and
think
help them
like
connect with
yeah,
that and live it in the physical.
yeah. And you find that, like we spoke about traumas before, do you find when you're able to get these messages through from all these different, you know, spirits that come through, do you think that this is a major thing for helping people heal the trauma because then they have a better insight as to why people passed? And, you know, a lot of messages saying, hey, don't worry, I'm fine. It's you that
Oh
needs,
yeah.
yeah,
Well, I mean, look, the fact that I could talk to somebody who's dead right off the bat has a huge message in it. It proves we survived death.
yes,
Right? So loved ones will all, especially someone's first reading, they'll come through with the surface-based stuff that only them and the person in the reading would know. So it creates that proof, right?
yeah,
That validation that this really is their loved one, that we really do survive death, that we really are infinite beings. Because once you realize that shit, well, that opens up every fucking thing. To who are we then for real? Why are we here? What is this human experience? That's when we get into what fucking matters,
yeah,
right? Because I realize I tend to downplay the medium part of it because there's so much more to that. But I do appreciate it because it's, once again, it's that first stage of proof, that first stage of expansion of consciousness to realize that we're more than just these, as you perfectly say, meat suits.
yeah, yeah. And knowing what you know now, would you fear death?
Fuck no.
No, good.
Fuck. Well, there's no such thing. I can't fear what doesn't exist, brother.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
when we've done readings with myself in the past, we've spoke about the blueprints.
Mm.
And obviously we know if people don't learn the lessons, it's because they're not following their blueprints. Can you explain to people what blueprints are, what the purpose is, where they're formed, and how we should always try and recognize the things that kind of slap us back into line in life to put us back on the correct path again?
Yeah, absolutely, brother. I mean, great question as always. So again, as infinite beings and infinitely intelligent beings, pieces of God, fractals of source, as you perfectly put it. I love that. I've never heard it put like that before. We essentially are God, right? Individuated in the illusion of separation during this physical experience. Okay. But because we're a piece of God, we don't need a separate entity to tell us what the fuck we're coming here to do. As a piece of God, we know what we're coming here for. We know who we need to be, the personality traits, the flaws included, the type of people we need to interact with to help create the experiences and the lessons that come from them.
Yeah.
Oftentimes we incarnate with the same soul group, just we play different roles every time. This is a continuation for every fucking buddy, right? So you map out your life, you blueprint your life. Not everything in between, but the major experiences that are integral to creating who you're here to be so you can do what you're here to do. And healing in the way that you need to heal for whatever, in order to be your true fucking self, right? Which means, hey, if we haven't healed something from a past life, we got to add this fucked up shit into this round so we can kick it up again and heal it this time while we're here, right? I mean, we can heal it in spirit, but it makes that much bigger of an impact while we're here, and we're here to make the impact, shift from fear to love, darkness to light, ego to soul, right? Hey, if we want to go religious, Satan to God. because we all got Satan and God in us.
Yeah.
It's not fucking dudes. It's not some horned red dude. It's our capability of shit, just like we're capable of love.
Yeah.
Just, again, it comes down to conscious choice. So we map out those integral experiences with those integral people, and everything transpires according to plan.
Yeah.
Now, in the meantime, between time of those experiences that we couldn't avoid if we tried, because they're so impactful and they're going to send us to the next level or the next phase of our life, so to speak, that's when conscious choice comes into play. That's when it's up to us how we perceive things. Do you perceive things from fear, from the conditioning we've been subjected to, or do you see things from love, from the soul, from the remembrance, if you're lucky enough to have that awakening?
Yeah.
But everybody's here, or most people, I should say, are here now to have that awakening. Some aren't. Some are here to be examples of what doesn't fucking, or what happens when you don't wake up, when you don't remember. And sometimes that's just as, if not more valuable to learning how to do things. I've had a lot of great people in my life that show me what not to do. And they were great teachers, man. And it saved me a lot of bullshit, I'm sure.
Yeah.
No,
it's really cool. Now, we mentioned before about The Secret and all these things that talk about, the power of thought. But how powerful are our thoughts? And do we live in a deliberately hijacked world to influence these thoughts and trap us in what becomes an invisible prison?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Again, it starts from birth, right? As long as we make you feel like shit, you won't remember your God.
Yeah.
Again, as long as we keep you living in fear. Oh, sorry, I was just getting a call there. As long as we keep you living in fear, you can't be living in what and who you truly are. Love.
Yeah.
So right from the get-go. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I remember when I was a child and sounds crazy. People would be like, yeah, whatever. But I used to play with ghosts. Like they would literally turn up and be around me. And they were as real, I remember my granddad coming back and showing me how to play with a toy train and how to work it. And, my mum's like, oh, who were you talking to up there? And I'm like, oh, granddad was showing me the train. And my mum's like, oh, shit. But they used to come. They used to visit me, but I got to a certain age and that left me. But I almost feel now, not that I'm seeing ghosts or anything, but I'm feeling that energy returning that I remember having when I was a child. I'm starting to have the very vivid and profound dreams that I used to have when I was a child. And shit's changing. There's no doubt about it. And it's starting to bring something back. And where the life in between being a child to where we are now was a lesson to bring us where we are now.
Absolutely.
This has become something that I was absolutely fascinated with. And, I still think about it to this day. Do you believe that we can lose whether it's an innocence energy or literally a connection to source because we're so new into the world? Do you believe we do lose that because of the programming we go through, but it's achievable to get that back later in life once you start figuring out the whole matrix of bullshit around us?
Not only is that achievable or possible, it's literally the point of the whole game. It's the point of forgetting in the first place. We're here to forget in order to remember. Yeah. And I think most, if not all of us, lose that purity along the way. Simply by going through the filter of life, right? We get learned out of who and what we truly are. We don't come here fearful. We're taught fear. We don't come here judgmental. We're taught judgment.
Yeah.
And if we're taught the almighty God judges, well, fuck, hey, it's okay if I do. Right? But there's nobody up there judging you. There's nobody. You're going to take stock of your own fucking life when you cross back over. Yeah. There's not some overseeing Hitler-like dictator that's just going to shit on you for what you've done or not done. It's your own soul taking stock of your experiences to see what you might have to want to do the next time around. Or even just in spirit, realizing what you learned when you were in the physical. You're taking all those lessons right there. You might not even have to come fucking back.
Yeah.
Right?
That's it.
But going back to your question, absolutely. We are prisoners of our own fucking doing.
Yeah.
After a while,
We
at
allow,
least. I mean, look, it's none of our fault what got us here, but keeping us here when we know better, that's on us. Like Spirit says, or I've heard a lot of people say this actually. Our trauma can't be our fault, but healing it can only be our own responsibility.
yeah, that's it. I always say to people, this up here inside the head, the biological computer that computes
Mm-hmm.
everything, it's a lousy master, but it's a
Yeah,
fantastic servant if we allow soul to be the driving force of what this computes and allows us to be told. And
absolutely.
is there any techniques that you would recommend people to use that allows them to literally connect back to the higher self and allow this flow of pure truth and energy and information back in to be managed by this rather than have the outside world of the news and the propaganda and the bullshit and the politics and the everything that influences and distracts us in life? Get rid of that. Ignore that when it needs to be ignored. There's nothing wrong with a bit of entertainment. We all love it.
Of
But
course.
at the end of the day, to get that connection back to true source and allow it to be in the driving seat of the meat suit, telling the computer up here what to do. Is there any way people can achieve that connection to a higher self in a better way?
Oh, absolutely. And once again, Spirit wants me to reiterate, it's not about ever losing a connection, it's losing the conscious remembrance. So we can't consciously live from there, right? We can never not be connected. Science has proven that. You and I, even though you're in Mexico and I'm up here in Canada, we're connected as fuck, brother.
Yeah.
Right? You, me, and everybody else. So again, simpler or sorry, easier said than done. It's very simple, far from fucking easy. It's about unbecoming who you never were so you can be who you are.
Yeah.
Now, the process to that I teach, I like to simplify shit. I think it was Einstein that said something along the lines of, if you can't simplify it, you don't understand it, right?
Yeah.
So again, pinpoint your trauma.
Yeah.
And then pull the good that came out of it. Because there's always a purpose to everything. Everything's always bringing us to our highest good, especially the most fucked up shit we go through.
Yeah.
Then once you've pinpointed that, and can therefore you become conscious, because as soon as we become conscious, we become our consciousness, which is the soul. So you start seeing your past experiences or even current experiences, which are always just regurgitation of fucking past experiences we haven't let go of. So you see those experiences from the perception of the soul then, and then from there you retrain your fucking computer, which is your biological computer, which is your brain. And you said that perfectly, because that's all it is a programmable fucking biological computer. It just it thinks what it's been told over and over and over again, just like a fucking computer, right? So you then again, but that's where the real work comes in. You have to annoyingly be aware of your own inner world, your own thoughts, and reprogram your brain because your old thoughts are going to come up. They're programmed in there like a broken fucking record, but we need those to come up to choose away from them. We need reminders of who we're not so we can choose who we are. Without the choice, there's no shift. There's no change. And we're all choosing no matter what. We're all choosing, but most of us are choosing unconsciously based on that programmable way and programmed way of living. Yeah. So once we become aware of the truth of where our shit's coming from and why we're aligning with these things because of our lack of self-worth, which is always directly connected to our trauma, we shift the reality behind that trauma. We shift from deserving that to realizing we didn't deserve that trauma. It was just a necessary part of our soul's experience to take us away from self-love so we can build it for ourselves so no one gave it to us, no one can ever take it away. And then you just feverishly work to reprogram as the bullshit comes up. You give it light and more light and more light and more understanding and just reprogram. And before you know it, that's just like you were programmed to live in fear. You reprogram to yourself to live as who you've always fucking been, which is love.
Yeah.
But it ain't easy, man. It's the hardest thing anybody will ever have to do because it's the most worthwhile thing we've all come here to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we talked about the cycles that affect us and the universe itself. We're all part of the one, and the universe itself goes through the cycles. But do you ever see the inclusion of things like astrology being a very powerful guide that we should not the astrology where you open a magazine and you read your horoscope. I'm talking
Yeah,
about,
yeah, in the back of the paper of the
yeah,
Toronto
yeah.
Sun or some bullshit. Yeah, yeah.
But I'm talking about the power and the
Oh, yeah.
influence of the universe around us in its alignments and the energy that that brings in. And obviously, right now we're out of the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius, and shit's getting real. So, do you how do you see astrology? Because a lot of people just kind of dismiss it as something that shouldn't be looked at. But is this something that could be very key to our understanding of what we are?
Well, absolutely. Um, Still, at the end of the day, and I'll say first and foremost, I'm not too much into the astrological end of things, but to answer your question, do they play a big part in everything? Absolutely.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, will your understanding of that directly change your life? It may complement some changes in your life, but it's not going to change everything.
Yeah.
Because again, you could be completely aware of what's going on astrologically and how things are unfolding, but at the end of the day, still it comes down to if you don't heal your own shit, if you're not accountable for your own life,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what's going on outside of you. Healing is 100% inside job. Unbecoming who you weren't so you can be who you are and have a better life or your highest life.
Yeah.
Inside job. Doesn't mean we can't get support along the way, but no one can heal anyone. No one can do the real work for anybody. That's
Yeah.
why most people shy the fuck away from it because we've been conditioned to we even a lot of fucking Catholics and Christians aren't going to do shit because they're waiting on Jesus to come back.
Yeah, and I
For
was
fuck's
thinking about
sakes,
that.
you're gonna be waiting a long
Yeah.
fucking time because Jesus Christ never said I'm coming back. The second coming he was talking about was the awakening of Christ consciousness within humanity.
Yeah.
But Christ consciousness is the same as Buddha consciousness, same as fuck. Every religious figure taught the same shit.
Yeah.
And they were fucked with in the same way too. Their messages were used, flipped around, and thrown back onto humanity to exploit the shit out of us all and separate us all, not only from who and what we truly are, but from each other. Because
Yeah.
what we all are is connected. We all are one.
Most people out there now that I see that have known, I'm not getting any younger, I've known people for quite a while. I'm seeing them on social media and I'm seeing them living lives that are absolutely fake. Even filters I look at sometimes and say, "Who's that?" And I'm like, "Oh shit, that's such and such." They never look like that. You'd never
Oh, dude,
recognize them on the
man.
street. But at the end of the day, how important is authenticity and being humble?
How important is it? It's everything.
Yeah.
Authenticity is literally everything. My main brand, Soulgasm, represents living your authentic self, being who you're here to be in the physical as you are in spirit. Authenticity is everything. Again, if you're not being who you're here to be, you can't get what you're here to get. You just can't.
Yeah.
Authenticity and humility is everything. Modesty, though, fuck modesty, man. Modesty, there's too many modest, really powerful, good people in this world. Modesty to me means you're slapping your greatness in the face, therefore slapping source, God, creator, whatever name you want to give to it, because that creator, that source makes nothing less than greatness.
Yeah.
And so if you're modest about that, you're slapping yourself in the face and therefore the creator that created you. Now, humility is a whole different thing. We should all be humble.
Yeah.
So the way Spirit has put it through me for years now is modesty is slapping your greatness in the face. Humility is just not being a dick about how great you are.
Yeah, that's it.
Right?
Yeah.
So be your power, but yeah, be humble about it. And the humility simply comes by realizing who and what you truly are, what you're a part of. That without source, you can't be shit. So we should all be humble. We should all be in a state of grace and gratitude. Because, yeah, sure, this place is fucked up, but it's intentionally fucked up. It's perfectly fucked up for a purpose. At the end of the day, life is fucking amazing. For you and I to simply be sitting here, dude, conversating like this, trillions of things.
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep getting calls here, man. Trillions of things are going on every millisecond just so we can breathe and our heartbeats and the blood pumps and all this shit. That's fucking genius.
Yeah, that's it.
Right? And speaking of the heart, I love when the heart comes up. Too many people listen to their heart. The heart's job is to pump fucking blood. Some of the dumbest shit I've ever done in my life is because I listen to my heart.
Yeah.
Go deeper and listen to the soul. The heart's a fucking idiot. Its job is it's a biological tool to keep our vessel alive. Go deeper. Listen to the soul, not the heart. The heart, in the context we use that in, is an emotional time bomb.
Yeah.
Waiting to fuck our life up, right? It's emotionally driven. It's not it's conscious driven. The soul is always consciously driven, always.
So people who are living a lie, living a false life, are damaging the soul terribly by not being true to themselves. So, how can people, because I think people dig themselves into a hole so deep, and to face literally a lot of stuff within their lives. I mean, over the past 5 years, we've gone through a lot. And I believe that the hand is outstretched for people to kind of say, okay, is the helping hand with your life, but you have to look back at your whole life and realize that you've lived a lie. People just not prepared to do that, and they'd rather deny that that's the case rather than look at the whole life as and I don't think it matters that we get to a point in our lives where we realize we've lived a lie. I've done it. I've gone through the education system. I've been in belief systems that I've been taught either by school or parents or society or friends or whatever. And we do get entrapped within that. But it's okay, isn't it, for people to look at their lives and go, yeah, I've lived a lie, but I'm no longer going to do it.
Well, it's not only okay, it's fucking necessary if you really want to live. Because unless you live in the truth, you're not living at all. You're living an illusion, a simulation, whatever you want to call it. But of course it's okay. We've all been wrong based on our conditioning. We've all, for the most part, done the best we can or could with the awareness we had in any given moment. Because without that accountability, the accountability for being wrong is the door or portal to what is right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The accountability of living a lie is the door to the truth. Because until you accept that you were wrong or that you were lied to or that you've been living a lie, until we acknowledge a wound, nothing can change.
Yeah. That's it.
We can't change our own beliefs or our behaviors if we are in denial of our beliefs and the resulting behaviors.
Yeah. And
it's necessary in a romantic relationship with a partner. It's necessary in any dynamic, in any relationship. Life is built on relationships.
Yeah.
And if you don't have two people accountable for their own shit, if you have one person who's feverishly standing and being wrong, then nothing in a partnership can move forward in a right way.
That's right.
And you ask if people are ready or not. It doesn't fucking matter. It's coming. It's here.
Yeah. Yeah. Either get out the way or you're going to get mowed down.
Exactly. Fuck. But so many people have so much lack of self-love that the resistance is actually simply due to they believe they deserve punishment unconsciously. So they're just making it harder for themselves.
Self-flagellation.
Because mom didn't treat them properly or dad didn't treat them properly, so they believe they deserve shit. So when the big awakenings come, no, I unconsciously don't deserve to get this truth and make my life better.
Yeah, it's insane, isn't it?
Fuck that shit. Everybody is worthy of their greatest good. Everybody.
Yeah, definitely.
Including the biggest pieces of shit in this world.
Yeah, anyone can believe themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, since the rollout of the Safe and Effective, how has the communication, insights, and message changed? Not only for those that have passed over, coming back.
Are you talking about the jab? Okay, yeah.
But for those who have passed over,
I love the coding in there, brother.
Yeah. So for those who have passed over, who have died from it, but also for those who are still here under the effects of it, receiving messages from those who have passed over. Are you hearing any kind of communication that's become a common trait, trying to warn people of, what it's doing to them or what it did to them if they've passed over?
Yeah, well, funnily enough, it hasn't come up in a lot of one-on-one sessions or even at events when I'm doing readings. When it does come up is when I'm doing the channeling for the group and I'm just kind of on spirit is on kind of a rant. It'll come up organically as a warning, also as a comforting message that even if you got the jab, it doesn't mean you're necessarily going to get fucked by it. You know, many people that were forced into it for various reasons were built for it, so to speak. And even as I'm answering this question right now, what Spirit's saying is we don't need dead people to confirm how fucking dumb it was. As long as you have eyes and a conscious mind and you've gotten rid of your cognitive dissonance, you'll fucking see it.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact alone that after the jab rolled out, the number one cause of death was unknown.
Yeah.
I mean, 1 + 1 = 2. Stevie fucking Wonder could see what's going on, dude. I mean, but when I say that, I'm not, and I come across like a dick sometimes. I get it, but I'm not saying it to be a dick. I'm not being condescending. What I'm fucking doing is simply calling out the truth, because I also understand the fear.
Yeah.
I understand the cognitive dissonance, because what we're dealing with here is people's entire reality about to be pulled out from underneath them, which then creates the most fearful experience for any of us. Not only what is this world then? What am I in? But more importantly, who the fuck and what the fuck am I in it?
Yeah.
Your entire reality changes. And again, the human nature, the egoic human nature is familiarity and safety and comfortability. Well, holy fuck. If anybody is surviving off of comfortability, jump 6 feet under now, because uncomfortability is coming.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's fucking coming, whether you want to. It's already here, but we ain't seen nothing yet, but it's necessary. If something was built based off of a shit foundation, tear that fucking bitch down and let's build it up correctly.
That's right, yeah. And that's it.
Fuck yeah.
The truth will set you free, but first, it will piss you off. Now,
oh, fuck yeah, man.
Yeah. Do you think, I mean, the world, I'm looking at the world right now, it's off the charts crazy, but do you think it's going to become crazier before we see the level of deceit being lifted, that veil moves apart, and we're like, okay, guys, we've gone through this shit show. We're here now. The true purpose of our goal being here, and now we're here. Is it going to get a lot crazier? Because I think I'm looking at it and I'm thinking this is just getting next level insane.
Oh, I guarantee you it's going to be. I guarantee you. And they're already spoon feeding. They're prepping people. I can't think of the term right now. Predictive programming.
Yeah.
They're like all this alien shit coming out in little spurts. They're fucking predicting. They're setting up people to accept what they're going to put on.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'll tell everybody listening right now, the first experience with beings beyond here we have, it ain't going to be a fucking real one.
Yeah.
I guarantee goddamn to you. So to answer your question, do I think it's going to get crazier? I fucking know it will. But it depends who you are and where you're at perceptively and consciously. Some of this won't be that crazy.
Yeah.
Like, it ain't going to be that crazy for you and I, man. You and I will have our fucking popcorn out.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Right?
That's it. And
that's the reality of it is we won't have time for popcorn because people are going to be forced to wake up and they're going to need guidance and reassurance and the truth more than ever, because finally, maybe out of force, they'll be ready to receive it because they'll need to receive it to survive even mentally in this shit show. Right? But it's absolutely going to get crazier per se. Like and you know, as much as the people running this world have their plan and they're drawing it out, at the end of the day, you can't override Source's plan. Even how the timing of how this unfolding. We can't, well, I mean, look at our own awakening, dude. We weren't just giving it all in one shot. We would have fucking combusted.
Yeah.
Right? It has to be delivered in stages for the physical vessel to be able to contain the higher frequencies.
Yeah.
Right? But fuck yeah, it's going to get crazier. But it's a good kind of crazy, man.
Yeah. Speaking of frequencies, you know, during the lockdown, I'm looking at every engineer all around the world installing 5G and stuff. And, you know, I understand that it projects frequencies. Then we look at the fact that this is going to be tied into the networks within the smart cities. Are these smart cities going to be a low vibrational frequency 5G prison for those who are unable to assimilate the new era of high vibrational energy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. But it's not even about 5G. People are their own low frequencies.
Yeah.
These other frequencies that we're being inundated with ain't helping, and it's definitely it's helping somebody's fucking plan. But at the end of the day, look, if again, you're either living in fear and love, and if you're living in fear, you're a sitting duck, man. You're just a sitting fucking duck.
Yeah.
And there's nothing smart about these cities. They want a just more easily control segments of population. That's fucking all it is.
Yeah.
That's all it is. In the bullshit guise of convenience. You know, no different than the chips they want to put in you. Oh, it's good. If you fucking lose anything, it's all in your arm. If your kid gets fucking abducted, we can find them right away. That's all 10 pounds of shit in a 2-pound bag, man.
Yeah.
It just fucking is. Elon Musk is full of shit.
Yeah.
Fucking Joe Rogan even is full of shit. I mean, you know, and that's not to say that a guy like Joe Rogan doesn't want to do more.
No. But
you know, but if you're a part of the system in any way, you fucking can't.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't. How do you get information out then on a grander scale if you're not, you know, part of that system? Frequency, man. Yeah. Just keep being authentic and it'll fucking happen. I mean, look what you've built over, like, what? How long have you been doing this? 10 years? Not even?
I mean, the podcast's 5 years, but I mean, I've been looking at weird shit for a long time. But the podcast alone, though. Yeah, I mean, that's grown exponentially, man, because people are more ready for it. We're all the collective same thing and the illusion of separation. So people are just going to come, man. People are just more open. It's all frequency. Same thing with your own individual shit. Once we heal and get rid of what we're not, things just vibrationally align. Even your mind vibrationally aligns with more higher vibrational thoughts. Yeah. It's a domino effect. If you swim in a pool of shit, you're bound to get hit with a turd. If you get out of the shit pool, no more fucking turds. No. Right? You run into diamonds then. Right? If we're using the shit and diamond comparison. Yeah. Right? I mean, everything exists on different frequency. So you can be down here in a low frequency thinking you're a piece of shit unconsciously because mom or dad didn't treat you correctly or whatever. You can think all the positive thoughts you fucking want. The result of those thoughts, that reality lives up here. If you're living up here, there's a big fucking gap. Yeah. Right? If you're living love, then yeah, you're rendering yourself susceptible to that good shit. Yeah. But until you make that shift and do the hard work to do the healing, to shift your perception, to connect consciously with the source inside of you, it's no different than ordering a steak from fucking McDonald's. You ain't going to get it, man. Yeah, that's it. Through self-love and accountability, that you can get your ass to the keg vibrationally and you can order all the steak and eat all the steak you want. That sounds good. So we'll wrap this up now, but if we were to recap or give a message to humanity now, an important message that they need to hear to make the change in their life, to make it through what's coming, what's that message? Well, to put it simply, I promise everybody that every little thing is going to be all right. Mm-hmm. Now, but me saying that really doesn't necessarily mean shit. Anybody can feel how all right it already is. Yeah. Only if they connect to who they truly are. Yeah. Take the blinkers off. Yeah. But focus on yourself. Even forget about the outer world right now. Yeah. Go to your inner world because that's what your external world is filtered through any fucking way. Heal your shit. Deal with your shit. We all have to do that. Deal, feel, heal, man. And once you drop the heavy shit, you become what? Lighter. Mm-hmm. You become light. Yeah. And light is fucking untouchable, man. It's scientific. You walk into a dark room, you turn on the light. Darkness can't fucking hang out and fight. It fucking scatters instantaneously. Same thing in human reality.
Anytime a light being, a higher frequency human even comes into a room of toxicity, you can see the toxic people get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Why? Because light exposes darkness. Light exposes anything vibrationally lower than it. And that's what the ego on us all does not want to have happen, because once we become aware of our own shit, we can transcend our own shit. The ego, just like the motherfuckers running this world, only stay in power when their shit goes unknown and unnoticed. Consciousness is their biggest enemy, because everything they do is about lack of consciousness. Darkness isn't a thing, it's a lack of light.
Yeah.
Fear is not a fucking thing, it's lack of love.
Yeah.
And the ego isn't a thing, it's simply lack of soul.
Yeah.
Or lack of conscious remembrance of what we truly are, which is the soul.
Yeah, definitely.
That's why we just unbecome what we're not, and boom, here the fuck we are is what we always are. We don't have to do or be more. We just have to unbecome what we're not, and boom, here the fuck we are is that authentic self. Love in human fucking form, the most powerful thing possible.
Yeah, definitely. Now, if somebody wants to get in touch with you, maybe come and see you, even work directly with you, what's the best way people can get in touch with you, see more about what you do, come and see you at maybe one of the group events, or contact you and work one-on-one? What's the best way?
I very much appreciate that, brother. The main website, iamdanking.com. But you can also watch a lot of content on, and there's going to be a hell of a lot more coming. We're about to launch something pretty huge as far as content, constant content. So that would be on Facebook, of course, Dan King Soulgasm. On Instagram, Dan King Soulgasm as well. Twitter is just about to launch, or my Twitter is just about to launch in the next month or so. That's Dan King Soulgasm as well. I also have a YouTube channel, Dan King Soulgasm. And through all those avenues, you can get a hold of me. But for booking a session or tickets to events or anything like that, iamdanking.com, the main website, is the best way.
Fantastic. I'll put the links for the main contributors there in the show notes. But Dan,
thank you, brother.
Let's not leave it 5 years next time, mate, because too much
no,
shit's
man.
happened
No.
since we last spoke.
Brother, I could do this with you 5 times a week.
I know, but you know what it's like. We all have our own paths we have to follow, but it's good that we come back to each other and we sit down and we talk and we go over these things, because
always on divine timing, I'm sure, brother.
Always, yeah, never a coincidence. It's always the right timing. Dan King, thank you very much. And as we always say here at the Atlantic Underground podcast, believe nothing and question everything. And until next time, go and check Dan out, see what he's up to, find yourself, realize you're more powerful than you're ever told, and always remember you are a fractal of source living in a meat suit. Take it easy, mate.
Yeah. Peace, love, and soulgasm, brother. Thank you again.
Cheers.